Hello and welcome to the Sick Career Podcast, the first one done on location. We're in Tamarindo, Costa Rica. My family come here 15 out of the last 16 years, mostly to visit this dude and his family that have a house down here where we're recording this from. So I'm not going to go into too much of that, but we have an entrepreneur on here. Usually I have people that work for large companies. Peter has been around lots of different entrepreneurships, lots of different businesses that he's created. And we're going to talk about how he's applied certain attributes and skills to achieve his success. But with no further ado, let me introduce Peter Groverman and tell the Sick audience a little bit about yourself.
Hello, Sick audience. My name is Peter Groverman. I'm a non-practicing attorney from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I passed the bar, but I don't actually practice law. I started a bunch of companies.
I'm a non-practicing attorney as well.
Did you pass the bar?
I did not pass the bar,
Yeah.
but I am a non-practicing. Unless you're not an attorney, then.
Yeah.
So first up, tell the Sick audience what you do now for a living. When they ask you, Peter, what do you do for a living? What do you say?
I'm running 4 operations, or at least I'm part of 4 operations. I have a nonprofit, I have a distribution company, a media company, and a gallery.
Okay. 4 things. How do you juggle all 4? Of those 4, where do you spend the lion's share of your time, or does it just always fluctuate?
Yeah, it depends on where I'm needed most, but building good teams around each venture has allowed me to do what I need to do and work off of my skill sets that can complement others who can do other roles and responsibilities.
So over the course of the year, would you say of your 100% of time, is there one that grabbed the lion's share of it, or do you think it's about 25% each? Looking back and we're almost done with 2022.
So, Better For You Media. Better For You Media is my media company. It's a global wellness, health and food, short form, episodic media production house.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is we're making shows that are going to be on our own channel at some point. The goal is within a year or two, have a 24-hour streaming cycle people can tune into. And there's original programming and live action and maybe cartoons and fun news, educational with a better for you focus.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. And that takes the majority of my time. Ravara is my distribution company. I'm currently on the board of the company. I was CEO for 10 years, stepped down and last year to start Better For You Media. So I'm not there as much, but I'm still pretty involved with business. I'm a co-founder of the company. My name's on the door. I have my heart invested in the team, and investors invested in me, and money's still in the company in my name, right? So I have a vested interest in its incredible success. And then the gallery is just a fun little side hobby. Also, it's turned into something that now I have a full-time person working with me. And the nonprofit is like a self-activating thing, which is actually taken on a little bit of its own COVID Relief Foundation, which is a lot to discuss there. But in short, building good teams around the companies has allowed me to kind of maximize what I need to do. I'd say 60% of my time is Better For You Media. You got 10% of my time with the nonprofit, 10% with Grovara, and then the rest with
I don't know what your company's like. We'll keep track.
gallery.
The gallery.
Okay. Majority of the time is Better.
Okay. So with Better For You Media, how do you get into this space, and how long? So looking back in this past year, there are 2,080 hours in a work year, and I know that because we used to have to calculate that number for headcount planning purposes.
Right.
That's if you work 40-hour work week. You probably work more as an entrepreneur. So about 1,200 of those 28 hours, 80 hours are for Better For You Media.
Yeah.
What are you trying to build with that? What are you trying to achieve with Better For You Media?
live up to the name, Better for You Media, tell the stories of other entrepreneurs, and create an educational format more than just quick edits and suspenseful music. This is something that you can watch. It's wholesome. It's entertaining. You can go to the store and have a good appreciation for the work that went into creating a brand. And the educational component is really what's going to make us pretty unique.
So, and I think you are an ingenious marketer. You were telling me about this amazing marketing ploy, and not a ploy, like a marketing campaign you essentially did. I'll summarize a little bit and you can fill in the details. You were trying to raise money for the Relief Foundation, and you were on stage in front of it was like a Venmo event or something like that.
Yeah. So the Venmo was founded out of Philadelphia. A bunch of kids from Penn, Ikram and Cortina, were at Penn. I was pretty involved at the time in the entrepreneurial community. The tech startup was 2010, 2009, 2010, that time. Ikram and Cortina were paying each other rent money with this app that Ikram had created called Venmo, vending mobile payments, Venmo. I knew them. The earthquake in Haiti hits. I used the Relief Foundation, the nonprofit, to organize a trip, go down to Haiti, help rebuild an orphanage in 4 days and 5 nights. Sent 132 people down to Port-au-Prince, raised about $1 million, maybe $2 million.
And you were not paying for them. They had to bring the funds. You had to get them excited for this, and they had to either raise the funds or
132 people.
Yeah.
It was $1,000 in cash. You had to raise another $1,000 in cash or bring $1,000 in donations. And that covered the expense.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, and then one of the things I would say, I guess one ploy, I tell each of them, if you're working, tell your employer, match my donation. I want to go on this trip. I'll represent the company on this trip. And it was in like the height of social media. So you can take these photos. We'll post them on the website, the blogs, and the social media pages.
That's a great marketing tactic. And tell the audience sort of what you did to raise so much.
Yeah. So as fate would have it, Ikram and Cortina were in Philly, showing me their platform they'd built, and we've met their attorney, and one of their co-founders was this guy Michael Crossy, who is one of my best friends, and represents a couple of my entities. And so Crossy, Cortina, Ikram, myself, we're all having a conversation about, hey, guys, do you think we could use your technology to raise money for my trip to Haiti? And they said, try it. So we had the event you're talking about. It was a Mobile Monday event in Philly, big tech meetup. They had a pitch week. Our cousin Ron ran it. Ron Braunfeld out of Philadelphia was,
okay, too many details.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
That's fair. And I was there, and I was like, guys, do you think I should just go on stage for the pitch? Because Venmo was still going to raise money for this Venmo. And I'm like, do you think I can go on stage and raise money for like the first 30 seconds of this 2-minute pitch? And they said, sure, yeah, great idea. I got out there, I go, guys, all right, everyone have a phone, pull out your phone. Everyone pulls out their phone. I said, on the big board, big screen, at the time, it was a text message based transaction. There was no app for Venmo. Either text message and how much here, whatever. Put all the instructions on a big, presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And in real time show the donations.
Yeah.
And in those 2 minutes, we raised about $20,000.
Wow.
And the first $300,000 we go through Venmo went to our orphanage in Port Prince, and that's how Venmo happened.
That's an amazing story, and I think that you kind of just spun that campaign up off the top of your head. You just got out on stage. This was not pre-planned.
I think there was a little bit of thought put into it. At least there was, but it was not supposed to be. What ended up happening was I took that 30 seconds during the entire 2 minutes. I actually felt bad. I got off the stage. I was like, oh my God, guys, dude, I didn't mean to take the whole time. And they were like, no, that was perfect. And they ended up winning the pitch of that night. And because of that pitch, it's kind of fun.
Yeah. And so I think that you are a fantastic marketer. And I think what you did with Art Basel in Miami also, where you sold a shit ton of paintings or something like that.
All right. Nice transition.
No. But I think what you're really good at is your marketing capability.
Yeah.
Because what you essentially did with these pictures, like say in like 2 minutes, what you sold, I think $50,000.
Yeah. And I can take a step back. What makes me such a good marketing person and many capabilities is a little bit of accidental stuff, along with definitely being in the right place and put myself in the right position to maximize the luck, right? Happenstance to choose to go to school at the University of Miami for college. Great education. The university, in addition to having, a great sports team, you put your time into education, you can get a lot out of it. But it was also the destination of all my high school friends at some point in their 4 years of college. So Facebook wasn't around until my senior year of college. So before Facebook, how did you keep in touch with people? It was like instant messenger, and you'd like text maybe or whatever. It wasn't like what it is today. At some point in those 4 years, almost everyone in my high school class came to Miami. They knew I went to Miami, so they'd reach out. And I was able to keep this network with my friend base. I just parlayed into law school and then into life. And building a good network, curating a network, finding good friends has really allowed me to kind of maximize the opportunities that present themselves.
And you've crossed paths with lots of famous people. Like you were, like John Hickenlooper's campaign for president. I think we're probably that. And you have David Pottruck, who's a former CEO of Schwab, as an investor in one of your companies. So are these networking like intentional? Or are you just like, how do you find these random people? Like, talk about how you met Pottruck, talk about how you met Hickenlooper, and anyone else that's like David Meltzer.
Yeah, Meltzer.
Like, they're not like super, they are pretty famous. These are pretty successful people in their field.
Yeah, great people to have in your inner circle.
So how did you form those, maybe think about those 3 relationships?
Yeah. I can walk through all 3. Then I'll talk.
And I don't talk, like, just talk a little bit about who they are and then how you got in touch with those 3 and like what you got out of those relationships. Not like in a selfish way, but the benefit that you got.
Yeah. So you got Pottruck. Pottruck and Hickenlooper came through my father. Pottruck and my dad went to Penn together. Before Pottruck worked at Charles Schwab, worked his way. He was the CEO of Charles Schwab. He was the one to take day trading online.
Right.
Incredible.
And as a CEO for what, like 5-10 years at Schwab?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Incredibly, but he was there forever. He worked alongside.
We were talking. Go ahead.
Charles Schwab. And Hickenlooper so Pottruck went to college with my father and wrestled at Penn with my father. And Hickenlooper went to high school with my father and played soccer with my dad. So I got those 2 role models and incredible, success stories.
Yeah.
In my life. Pottruck was some of the first money into Grovara.
Oh, that's what he says on his LinkedIn. He leads with Grovara.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's executive chairman.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible to have him as a contact. I just text him today.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So you got Pottruck, and then you got Hickenlooper, who's just like an absolute legend. I mean, the guy started out.
Yeah, he was at Schwab for 21 years. He was a CEO for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So and like you talk to him on the phone for 3 minutes, and that's like, there's like 6 months of corrections, if not years of corrections, in 3 minutes of talking to this guy. He's a total masterclass. It's fabulous. Hickenlooper is, obviously a master networker. He did it an interesting way too. He started out as he bought the equivalent of like Brooklyn from 20 years ago in Korea.
And with Meltzer also,
yeah,
you're not just like said hi to these guys. These people know who you are. They're involved with your business. How did you build relationships with them? Like, what did you do differently that other people? You're very good at building relationships, and so like, what do you think you're doing there that other people can learn from?
Yeah, Meltzer I met his guy at a trade show at Expo West, I had a camera crew on the floor, walk around the floor and shooting for Better For You Media at Expo West, and this kid came up to me and goes, "Hey, is this a production?" I go, "Yeah, it is." He goes, "I work for David Meltzer. Can I have your card?" And I go, "Excuse me?" And he said,
Did you know? Did you?
"Yeah, I know
who that
Meltzer.
was?
I love Meltzer.
How did you know his name?
It's from YouTube. I got targeted on the algorithm somehow. Next time, I'm all in on his frequency,
Yeah.
as he puts it, right?" And so so I said, "Tell Meltzer I want to talk to him." He said, "I will." And so I said, "Make sure you tell him." And I took his card, Keith and I are good friends. And he set the meeting literally the next Monday. Talk to Meltzer. I'm like, he's like, "Can you meet me in New York?" I'm like, "When?" It's like, "Tomorrow." I drove up, out of New York, showed him what I was doing. He loved it. And then I just stayed accountable. I was incredibly diligent. And there's a fine line between being annoying and persistent. And I'm really good at understanding that line. And that's about being excel and create and maintain relationships with people of caliber. The other really important part is going to law school. Going to law school, putting an ESQ at the end of my name, passing the bar is highly regarded. So when people meet that, they don't meet an attorney every day, especially an entrepreneurial thinking attorney who wants to complement what they're doing and can bring value with other relationships and ideas. Not everyone's a good ideas person.
Well, what are any of those three people doing with you from a legal perspective? Like, I would argue that it's not your Esquire that got you those relationships. I think it's that you've been proactive, you reached out, you're a genuinely good guy. I think that's it. I don't think Esquire got you any of those conversations.
It's not from a legal perspective, but more from a position of I did it.
Right, but there are other people that might have gone to Harvard Law, and which is a better law school in Villanova. I think
we got that right.
And they're not getting these meetings.
Yeah, it's more or less about where you went, and the fact that you just passed the bar is a good qualifier.
But I don't think if you were a lawyer or not. I think you would have still been able to have these relationships with them.
It's a question for Meltzer. It's a question for Patrick and for Hickenlooper. But I think it's awesome. My relationship with my dad with the two of them. But
yeah,
Meltzer also is, we're going to make money together. And I brought him in. I did also, which is kind of unique differentiator, was I told Meltzer I wanted him on my advisory board. And in exchange for an advisory position, from a legal perspective, what did we do with Meltzer? What I do with Meltzer? I sent Meltzer a formal advisor agreement, and he signed it. The advisor agreement gives an advisor either a quarter or half a point of equity vesting over 2 or 3 years.
Is that some of your legal background that you were able to? Yeah.
And then, that's a big differentiator too, because no one's really come to the table and say, "I want to give you equity in my company if you listen to me and talk to me and help me make some stuff. Also, how can I help you?"
Right. And that's important. How can I help you?
Huge.
Yeah.
And it's a genuine, how can I help you? Because I love you, dude. I listen to your stuff every week.
That's when I think the differentiator is, by the way. I think you're a generous person. And you give stuff, like to my kids, you make coconut water for them, and you take them out surfboarding, and you do all that stuff. And I think you're just a giving person. Like Adam Grant writes a book, Give and Take. Did you ever read the book?
No.
It's a book about givers and takers. And then there's, I think, people that are traders. I forget what they call it. But there are people that are just naturally givers. And they wind up being a lot more successful for a lot of the things, because I think it builds strong relationships with these people that you're getting these really important people. And there's probably others also. Name 2 or 3 other crazy people that you know.
Is that the brand whisperer? It's got Bob Burke, who's an absolute legend.
Okay.
One of the founders of Seago Coconut Water, Matt Burson.
Okay.
And
the Riverside platform, someone high up in the Riverside.
Eve.
Yeah. So a lot of these people. How much of that did that is it intentional? Are you intentionally looking for people, or you're just circulating in areas that successful people happen to be at?
That's a good question.
Because some of it was like introduced by your father. So that's just
Yeah, my dad did a good job teaching me
two of them were introduced by your father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two of the first.
And that's from him go to Penn.
Your dad's similar to you. Like,
what's that?
Your dad's similar. He's a very giving person.
Oh, yeah.
And he has a huge network also because just people like to hang out with him.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you're a good person. You like to have a good time.
Yeah.
So what was the question exactly again?
How much of being, like, just being good, like, and building the network, how much of your network was intentional?
Yeah.
You're like, it wasn't. It was like very serendipitous. It was like, you're not looking for David Meltzer. You were just David Meltzer happened to be.
Yeah, I got you.
You couldn't carry V either.
I could be.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is putting myself in the best position. When a lot of my friends were out and I was to do the law school thing again, the law school thing is not just always about legal, because you can be an attorney, you can be a politician, you can be a business person, and you can practice and use the law degree in multiple ways. What's really the thing that people don't think about, which makes sense when you think about it, is your classmates. My classmates are some of the most successful people I know. I have an answer for almost every question just from a phone call from someone I trust and love. For almost anything, any question on the planet. And part of it is from my keeping in touch with my high school friends, keeping in touch with my law school friends and college friends, and building relationships that compounded on others' successes and learning and failures.
Yeah.
So I don't really seek out but there are like some fun things like Mark Summers, right? Food Network, Mark Summers. I for like 6
Is that the guy from Double Dare?
Yeah. And now he had that show on Wrapped. He's now my business partner on a media project that we're bringing to market called Behind the Wrapper.
And how do you meet him?
I met him because my roommate at the time, like several years ago, was in an Uber carpool and met a guy who lived on our street. And that guy was a manager at a restaurant called Armada in Philadelphia. And he's and in conversation one day, he said, that guy Mark Summers comes in all the time. And I said, shut up.
Okay, so it was like friend of a friend knew him.
And I said, I want to meet Mark Summers. Tell him next time. And 3-4 months later, he calls me and goes, guess who's here? I go, tell me when to take the coffee. And you have a friend you have to introduce him to.
Right. So a lot of people heard that he was there, but you did something about it. You're like, I'm going to go out of my way and
it's persistent without being annoying.
Yeah. I was sure there's a lot of situations where you tried to connect with someone and they just didn't respond to you
all the time.
Right. And what do you do with that?
But I'll tell you this, people will respond more to me because they see the ESQ at the end of my name.
So I think you're saying that. And like, that was actually another question I had for you. Name someone that you respect that's like high up legally.
Legally? Meltzer's up there.
Okay. Is Meltzer a lawyer?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at his profile. I bet he does not have Esquire there. And here's where I'm going with it. David Meltzer. It doesn't say Esquire. Co-founder of sports marketing, consultant, and business coach, keynote speaker. The Esquire at the end is very similar when I deal with clients that have MBAs. And when people don't go to top MBA programs,
right?
They do not put MBA at the end of their name. You will not see someone from Harvard Business School put MBA at the end of their name, or Stanford, or Columbia, or Booth, or whatever. I don't think you see a lot of lawyers do Esquire at the end. I think it's something you're saying to yourself. I think there's so much. I think the Esquire gave you credibility and maybe confidence that you needed and some business acumen, but you could have done this without the Esquire.
Well, I can tell you from an international standpoint, you're right. I'm checking most attorneys don't list Esquire. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, I love it.
First up,
I didn't even know, when I saw your profile the first time, I was like, what the fuck's ESQ? I had to Google it.
So that's part of what I like about it.
Yeah.
Is that not everyone does it. It's kind of fun.
Right.
And it pops. The fact to even know it and bring it up to me is like, that it did it.
I think there was a confidence building thing for you.
when I go internationally, which with Grovara, we business in 75 countries. And by the way, you can't say MBA is on par with it with Lottery. Lottery is so much better. I am recognized and differentiated from an MBA.
I don't know how you define better. I would define better by how much compensation we make. That's how I define better.
I don't know any. Well, you know, what's the best is a JD MBA. I highly recommend people do that because I can't beat
But
that.
I don't know what success means, but I think they're both attractive titles. I think there will be a lot of
No, attorneys. You ask any attorney, and most MBAs too. I think you're gonna be like, they have
I'm an MBA.
No, I mean,
MBA.
yeah.
I think it's harder to get into top MBA programs. I don't know which one's harder, but I think it's just as prestigious if you come from Harvard Law or you come from Harvard HBS, Harvard Business School. I think they're both extremely prestigious. I don't think one's more prestigious than the other.
I can tell you this: if you go to China and you do business in China, and you say,
When the fuck am I going to China to do business?
"Well, that's what I'm telling you. I'm trying to educate you something."
Okay.
When I go to China, and I do business in China,
Yeah.
the being an American attorney is they literally say, "Oh, higher education."
Well, what if you're an American businessman?
Very different. Attorney and doctor in China is regarded so much more
Look,
than MBA.
can you read my shirt to the crowd? Please read the shirt.
Yet, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Anyway, let's go
All right.
on this. I think that you have a lot of natural talent. Like, so the whole growth framework that we,
Check in Art Basel. Lived in there.
oh yeah, sure. Well, no, because I think that's also just, okay, so how did you succeed at Art Basel? And I think you sold $50,000 worth of art that you just marketed really well.
Yeah. Long story short, I'll keep it quick there. I saw an opportunity to create a gallery at Art Basel. I had art.
Tell people what Art Basel is if they don't know.
Sure. Art Basel is one of my favorite weeks of the year. You go down to Miami, the entire city turns into a giant art gallery. They have an Art Basel in Miami, Hong Kong, Paris, and Switzerland.
These are big global art events.
Yeah, they're huge and they're fabulous. Billions of dollars of art flows through this Art Basel meetups and conferences 4 different times a year. One in Miami is the first or second week in December every year.
How did you even get connected to that?
Yeah, well, I lived in Miami.
You're not an artist.
Yeah, right. And I lived in Miami, and the best parties of the year. All the big brands sponsor all the big clubs and parties. And when I was in Miami, going out was the best week was Art Basel. And the city was beautiful. They put statues everywhere, and there was every hotel, every restaurant, every museum, every single venue was filled with art.
Right. But what did you do?
Right.
Like, so you basically sold old pictures, you doctor them up, you put a frame around them.
Yeah, I built a canal. Well, there's a couple things I did. To get into this was I had my father got me into antiques, and through working with him and doing estate sales with him, I collected some of my own personal collection, and I wanted to sell it. I realized if I wanted to sell it myself, it was cheaper and I get more ROI than if I had worked with an already existing gallery. Most of the galleries, if I even did work with them, they'd sell or list like 2 or 3 of my works, and they wouldn't show the whole catalog. So it didn't. I wanted to sell my stuff, I had to do it myself, right? And I pursued down that path.
But you got in there because you knew someone.
I rented a space, a gallery that was already existing in Miami, rented it out for the season, and put my own art in there. Had a pop-up for about 3 weeks, threw a big party, and
You got a lot of people that come.
we built a brand.
So you're very good at creating something like the Relief Organization or Foundation. You built that out of nothing.
Yeah.
You built you have ideas and you're successful with them. So, yeah, I don't really have much of a question about that, except how do you think about leveraging, if that is your core strength, which I think it is, like, I think building networks, coming up with ideas, executing them. Well, I don't know. Which part are you good at and which part you need to like complement yourself with others, with other support on?
I'm very good at coming up with the idea. or I'm very good at seeing what other people are doing and then try to align myself for maximizing their success and collaborating and, helping push the envelope and have my own interest too. And that makes sense. Take the Venmo example, right? I love seeing beautiful technology, great bunch of co-founders working together. It was awesome at the time. You couldn't text message payment someone. Even PayPal was like a little bit more work than what it is today for sure. So that idea was pretty neat. Finding an opportunity and just thinking about their idea and then seeing another opportunity and being like, let's bring them together. And what does it take in 2022 to bring people together? A text message group chat. So, and then pushing people to interact with each other. And if you put good people with good people and you're lucky, you get good results.
Right.
Does that answer your question? Or
it kind of does, but I have a book recommendation for you.
Yeah. How do I spend what am I good at? I'm good at top of the funnel. I'm good at putting people together. I'm good at learning. I love figuring out how to get something into something and, make sure it works. And I find people who are smarter than I am and let them tell me what is going on and work my way on. Yeah, it's so easy on LinkedIn to find somebody who is an expert in a certain category, or going through my media network, see who can help me understand something better.
Yeah. Talk about LinkedIn for a little bit. How do you use LinkedIn to grow your business, your career? You use that tool fairly often, right?
Yeah, totally.
So what do you use LinkedIn for?
I use LinkedIn for this total networking. A to Z. Before every phone call with anybody, I'm on LinkedIn first, and I'm adding them on LinkedIn in advance of the call, and I'm sending them a message, and we talk to you.
Yep. And you do, and like, what do you look at in their profile before you talk to them?
Their photo. Who are they? What do they look like? Where are they living? Where do they go to school? Who do we have in common? If we have someone in common, I'll message that person like, hey, how well do you know this person?
Right.
I don't do it for everyone, strictly for time's sake, but if time wasn't
important,
it would be if it's for me, 100%.
Yeah.
I use it as like a way of communicating, try to understand someone's persona the best I can. I'll Google their name, I'll YouTube their name, but LinkedIn is like the record of truth.
There's so much information there, whether it's a business meeting or an interview that you're doing, that you can just look at someone's profile, and what they choose to put up there is very indicative of how they think. That their about section, not a lot of people spend any time in it, but reading through that sometimes, you can see something that they're passionate about, that they care about diversity, or they care about.
Have you found anything on LinkedIn lately from the about section? What have you learned about someone?
If I were about to meet with somebody and they were at their about section, I would scan it and read what's important to them. I'm trying to think of a specific example, but I've definitely seen people talk about like their family in the about section. Not everyone talks about their family, so they talk about their family.
Is that important?
I think it's important as an icebreaker, that then I will weave in stories about my kids. But if there's someone that is like a single person, doesn't have kids or something, or they're not calling that out. Maybe they're calling something else out, that they care about diversity. And I'll talk about something on that side. Oh, yeah. So anyway, but you're doing your reconnaissance.
Yeah, reconnaissance. That's what I'm doing.
Now.
Totally. And LinkedIn is like an incredible force multiplier. I love being able to like ask the question of who is the person I want to talk to at that company.
Yep.
A little about the company, see what people are there, and then going through and identifying, just a target hit list for sales perspectives.
So a lot of my clients, a lot of people I work with, work for more traditional companies. And this will be like the last topic, and we'll finish up after this.
Okay.
You have not worked for a traditional, like a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah.
I don't believe.
Right. Like not for anything in my adult. No, not really.
Okay. So why did you choose not to do that? It's probably was never an attractive spot for you to work for, like an American Express or a Coca-Cola or in the legals. Like, I don't know, like, what was your thought process of not going down that path versus kind of carving your own path?
I had one opportunity to work for a financial institution in 2006. And
Is
I,
that a big name one that people would have
yes,
heard of?
yes. I
Was
was
it the name?
no, I was in Miami, and my friend recommended me to the position. He said it was some type of, I said, what's the role? He said, corporate espionage. That was interesting. I never heard that word before. And I went down and I passed the first interview. I passed the second interview. And then it's between me and another guy. And I'm meeting with one of the head of the office and in Miami. And he asked me a question. He said, if I wanted you to find my counterparts, find out the salary that my counterparts making at my competitor's business, how would you do that? How would you do that?
So like someone that's like running another coaching business, if I wanted to find out what they were earning,
Yeah.
what they were making, I would try to see if I knew the person. That'd be hard. It would depend on what size company it is, because I don't know. I would not be interviewing for a job like that, so I don't even know how to come up with an answer for that, because you can't Google someone's salary. You could look at some proxies like Glassdoor and Salary.com and Levels.fyi, but you're not going to find that individual's salary. So, do they want to get like a W-2 of this individual?
So in 2005, there was none of those technologies, by the way. Go find it. This guy, now I said, me being me, I'm a pretty straight shooting guy. I said to him, my favorite marketing professor said that if you ever want to know something, just call someone up and tell them you're a college student, because everyone loves helping a college student. And that's what I said. That was my answer to the guy. That was the wrong answer. The right answer was he wanted to pay me to go and apply for a job at his competitors and work my way up and do some delivery in advancement. And I don't want to say that turned me off to the corporate world, but it definitely was pretty weird.
That's a weird. I've never even. I'm sure that stuff exists.
Yeah. But I went to school also for motion picture marketing. I always loved creating film. That was my Miami degree. I got dared to go to law school. I went to law school and then got in, passed the bar.
Right.
And while I was in school, the dean allowed me to start business, and incorporate it into the curriculum of my classes.
Right.
So I really never had that traditional. I had a total wiki-wacky way, but I never worked for a traditional company. And it's been a little bit of a problem too in some ways. Like I have less respect for the chain of command than most people do.
Well, when's the last time you had a boss?
Right. I don't work on a box. And also I can't have restrictions, because a lot of what I'm doing is R&D. And to the average person, something incredibly risky, why would you even think about that? To me, is a logical exploratory position. And so having a chain of command and having someone trying to tell me where I'm going, when I don't even know where I'm going 9 times out of 10 myself. A lot of the financials, you don't stick to your plan. You got to make do. You got to make cuts. I mean, big decisions, especially when you're doing making big movements, maneuvers, and organizing a trip to Haiti in a country I'd never been to, right? Starting a global distribution B2B technology company, and now trying to start my own 24-hour news cycle and media network. I mean, it's an absolutely incredibly ambitious undertaking, especially when, do you know what the success rate of a gallery is?
I would guess 10%.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
It's something ridiculously stupid.
Right.
When I should be, there's all these things, but at the same time, the magic that comes out of going to Haiti, and then Venmo happens. Now you have these incredible happenstances. So,
well, that's an interesting career path, and I would like to ask you more questions, but we're wrapping up on time here.
All right. Wow, that was 40 minutes.
Yeah.
High five.
Yeah.
But, yeah, was that good?
Well, wait, we have 2 more questions before we wrap this up and do the touchdown dance.
Yeah.
But first one is, what is one piece of sick career advice that you'd like to give Acceleration Nation here that has really helped you grow and develop your career?
Hire slow, fire fast.
Okay. Good advice. We won't dig too much into there because we'll just go deep there. But and the second question I want to ask is where can people find you?
Oh, good question. Probably the most important question of the night. Yeah.
I'm trying to serve you here as well.
Add me on LinkedIn.
Peter Groverman
Esquire.
Esquire. Yes.
Listen, I'm telling you, it's a differentiator. I'm glad that no one else is doing it.
I think it just says ESQ.
Thank God.
Yeah. Okay, so that's how to find it. Cool.
Instagram is just my first initial, my last name. I use that.
No Esquire?
No.
Okay.
Give me an idea. And that's it. I'm pretty reachable. If you want to have a question or idea or something to talk about, I'm here. And I really thank you for having me here today. This is fun.
Awesome. So if you like this episode, this one's a little bit different. Give us some feedback. Drop your comments in the comments below. Like us. Subscribe to us. We have only 145 subscribers right now. I'm aiming for 1,000 subscribers. So please subscribe to our channel. I don't know. You should. You should be number 146. Get in there. Subscribe to Kadima Careers.
Thank you, everyone.
And don't forget, you own your career.